America, home of the brave, land of the free, and playground to some of the dumbest people on the planet. Packed to the rafters with cretinous criminals, pea-brained policemen, disastrous drivers, and meat-headed morons. You're about to see some of the stupidest America has to offer. They may be big, but they sure ain't clever. This is America's Dumbest. Coming up, cops nail this no-good driver. A burglar cuts off his own escape route. And rivers and roads get mixed up for this chap. Many criminals fight for the crown of America's dumbest. It's coveted in their community, much as the village idiot was coveted in medieval England. Once in a while, there comes a moment where someone raises the bar and we gasp with incredulity at this new level of incompetence. Step forward Felix Joel Riviera. He's so bad at burgling, he didn't even get into the convenience store he intended to rob. No doors or windows for him. No, they're for mugs. He decided the best way in was the exhaust vent of the grill, but as you can see from the film, he didn't really think it through. It took a team of seemingly dozens of people many hours to free the hapless dope, and after emerging covered in stale burger grease, he was promptly arrested and taken away to be grilled for the second time that day. High-speed chases, we love them. Whether it's a stolen car or robbers fleeing from a bank heist, it's certainly the most entertaining form of crime. In the interests of equal opportunities, this car chase involves two women, and boy, are they driving. Very high speeds, going through the tiniest of gaps, really keeping the cops on their toes. But what, I hear you ask, is their crime? Well, some may say this is sexist, but only a woman would spark this kind of highly dangerous pursuit, risking their own lives and the lives of other road users because they've tried to return a pair of expensive shoes without a receipt. That's right, these two ladies had committed the heinous crime of selecting the wrong shoes and, overcome with embarrassment, hot-footed it away.
Okay, back on the freeway now, back on, gonna continue eastbound 8.
Okay, well, I'm out of this 2952. It's a CHP call. E07 for information for 108S2 negative on switching to the orange.
Unit would be exempt from that request.
Okay, well, there's already like 4 or 5 of them on the call.
We're going to have any units drop out. I'll remain in.
Okay, over the sidewalk, she's struck a light pole.
The police can't let this be entirely girly, though, and end the chase in a very manly fashion. Lots of smoke, squealing tyres, and one of the coolest pit manoeuvres of all time. But even when the chase is done, the ladies remain resolutely in the car. In all the hoo-ha, they didn't actually manage to exchange the shoes, and they absolutely cannot be seen in public with these things on their feet. But the cops have no such fashion qualms and unceremoniously drag the driver out. Once she's been publicly humiliated, her friend just gives up. Ah, the shame.
Okay, second occupant coming out now.
So for all you shopaholics out there who buy clothes always intending to take them back, take heed of this story. Next time you do that, you better have the receipt, or you could find yourself in the middle of a high-speed chase, complete with a huge crash and then a copper's knee on your head. And if you think we're making all this up, we're not. It's actually a true story, only in America. In golf, your handicap is a way of levelling the playing field. In golf store burglary, it's much the same. As we see here, where this gormless trespasser practically poses for the camera. Hold on there, Tiger, I'm not sure we got a decent shot of you in profile. If you just hold for a few moments further, attaboy. So with the significant handicap of not having a brain, the playing field is evened up, with the unattended and inanimate shop now involved in a fair fight with the burglar. Don't believe me? Well, as the robber tries to leave, he finds the window he entered through tightly locked. He tries and he tries and he tries some more. But he's not going to be able to leave the fairway here. So grabbing this rather paltry booty, he ambles over and out the front door, setting the alarm off on the way. This idiotic criminal paid for his handicap and left teed off, but disappointment is par for the course when you're that terminally stupid. Still to come. Stealing cars on camera gets this crim quite excited. A driver decides now is the time to call for help. And a robber chooses a see-through disguise. I've been framed. Welcome to the part of the show where we watch the cops set a trap for the criminals and let them stumble brainlessly into it. Across the pond, the feds enjoy nothing more than to set a trap for a crook, and one of the policeman's favourite methods is the bait car. A nice motor fitted with cameras left unlocked with the keys in it, in a nasty part of town. The crims don't stand a chance. Yes, the bait car. The terminally stupid are drawn to this like moths to the flame. This guy got so excited upon seeing the car that part of his brain fused and he completely forgot how to drive. Just look at the vacant expression as he wonders at the marvel that is the gear stick. Victim number 2 is certainly the thinker of the bunch. First, he thought in advance to bring his own CD with him, because you just can't commit felonies if you're not listening to Phil Collins. Then, during the chorus of Two Hearts, another thought seems to creep into his largely empty mind. That demented laugh can only mean one thing: supervillainy and plans for world domination. But just when delusions of evil genius are about to take over, reality kicks back in and the cops remind you of what an utter knob you really are. There are some who say that correctional facilities are an important link in the rehabilitation chain, and there are some who say that once a thief, always a thief. These two have been in jail. They're currently in the office of the police station, being released, signing papers, and being given back their personal belongings. The bloke on the right has got his stuff and puts it on the table while he rings the missus. Then the other chap sits down to sign his papers right next to a wallet. You can almost feel his pain. There's a full-on war raging in his head right now. Just can't stop myself. And he nicks it. A few minutes later, after several utterings of "It weren't me, governor," and a quick review of the CCTV, he's back behind bars. Police later emptied his pockets and found 9 pens, 4 plastic cups, 3 teaspoons, and an ashtray. This guy doesn't need prison, he needs the Priory. Bridges are supposed to go over water. If you happen to stumble across one of the rare ones that goes through water, it might be advisable to avoid it. After mass flooding, this bridge became what some might call uncrossable, but there's always one. Not blessed with a fully functioning intellect, this half-wit, seen here with his head stuck out of the window like a dog on a highway, took on the water and lost. If that bridge looks like something you wouldn't try to cross yourself, it's probably because you're intelligent and don't fancy spending an afternoon submerged in water and approaching hypothermia. And believe it or not, there were scores of signs saying, "Do not cross, severe flood." But being American, there's a big chance that he couldn't read. Lesson to be learned here is truck for land, boat for water. There's a good boy. Still to come. 5 kicks where one would do get this cop kicked out. New headwear line from Dumb Robbers Designers. And a dumb driver misunderstands the instructions at a petrol station. Coming up, a state-of-the-art security system fails. Cops put the boot in and get booted themselves. And clothes are of little concern for this crim. What do you get when you put a stupid robber in a convenience store with an equally dense clock? A robbery that's an embarrassment to watch for all concerned. Let's start with our imbecile criminal. Realizing he needs to disguise himself in front of the security cameras, he opts for the old, reliable, transparent poncho. Even if we ignore the fact that there's a hole where he's poked his face out, nullifying any possible use for it, it's still see-through. Now surely any shopkeeper with any nous would seize the opportunity to outwit the poor lad. Nope, not this guy. This till monkey is too brave to do anything like that. Instead, he opts to head outside and wave his arms about, saying, "Come and see this new poncho." Meanwhile, genius number 1 has figured out the till and is about to make off with the takings. But has the clerk had second thoughts? Is he having a bout of ill-advised bravery? No, he simply positions himself perfectly to get brained by the door as the robber leaves. Surely, if anybody knows which way this door opens, it's the man that's worked here for years. Here's a story you may struggle to believe, but rest assured, whatever else may happen, I'm not pulling your leg. Some criminals are so dense they actually leave a bit of themselves behind.
I kicked him off of me, and as he turned around, one of my employees was right behind him.
2 thieves see the opportunity to get a leg up the criminal ladder by hot-footing it into this auto parts store in Kansas and legging it with their booty. But the shop workers fight back, giving them a bit of a shoeing. The guy at the bottom of the screen makes the last leap for the fleeing criminal, but all he gets is the big fella's prosthetic leg.
My employee slammed him in the shelf, dove after him, grabbed onto his leg, which turned out to be a prosthetic leg at that, and the leg popped off, his pants came down, he went hopping out into the parking lot into his van wearing nothing but his boxers with only one leg.
So he hopped it with his partner in crime with a massive $50, leaving behind a titanium leg worth several thousand.
It looks like it's a titanium type prosthetic leg, very expensive, and I'm sure he's going to want his leg back eventually, you know, and maybe he will turn himself in.
That's quite a bill he'll have to foot, but if he wants it back, he'll have to go to the police, and he surely won't have a leg to stand on. Now here's a situation where no one comes out with any credit. It's just dorks stealing from dicks. Having navigated their way through the world's least effective security system, 4 trolleys blocking a door that opened with the slightest push, these 3 crims realise that they've had a result. If it's going to be that easy to get in, shall we take gloves and masks so we might make it trickier to be identified, they may ask. Of course not. That flies in the face of the ethos of this crime, this program, and indeed this nation of dingbats. Getting away with several bags of cigarettes is a decent haul for these three, even though we'd know them instantly if we saw them on the street. As for the store manager, he learnt his lesson, and the following night the trolleys had been replaced by some hand baskets and a sign that said, "Beware, locked door." They were never burgled again. What you're seeing here is an elevator inspector being caught taking bribes. Now, lifts do need to be inspected. They carry lots of people up and down and are at times suspended hundreds of feet up. The potential for danger is huge. So it does seem somewhat surprising that this lift inspector decides that safety checks can go hang in exchange for a few bucks in his back pocket. Now, the odd bung here and there at local councils is no new thing. But chucking someone a case of wine to forget he just saw a rat in your pantry is one thing. Deciding not to check the cables on a 30-person lift is quite another. Sensing danger, the council acted and set up cameras to catch this chap doing the dirty. And just like the lifts which he didn't check, he went down. Still to come, dumb drivers lead to dangerous situations. And a naturist party gets way out of hand. Some things are so stupid they take your breath away. This story gave me asthma. After a high-speed chase, the adrenaline's pumping and it's only natural to want to dish out some instant justice to the perp, just like the good old days. But in the good old days, you didn't leave your own dash cam on to catch you breaking a whole bunch of laws. Watch again as the car thief uses all his cunning to entrap the officer into giving him the severe pummeling by offering no resistance whatsoever. And when it's all done, the guys gather round to salute another job well done by the copper they lovingly call Brains. America's dumbest drivers. One thing you can say about our American cousins, rich or poor, dumb or incredibly stupid, they are patriotic. They love America, so when a boozed-up fool hears that the fuel in these pumps came from the oil fields of Iraq, he decides to teach their Saddam-loving asses a lesson. Take this, it's from Uncle Sam. And then he embarks on that other great American tradition, running away when things get too hot. Never fear though, this country-loving bumpkin gets caught just a few miles down the road, probably after stopping to shout abuse at an Afghan hound. This clip is dedicated to all those out there that question why you'd ever want to be a cop. For the time being, it's you who are dumb, because in what other job do you get to cruise the deserted streets at night and then turn a corner to be confronted by, yes, a crazy naked guy with a knife? That simply doesn't happen in other jobs. You ask your accountant friend and I guarantee that won't have happened to him. What you heard there was the cop shooting the knife-wielding naturist twice. You can't shoot hippies in other jobs either. But of course the cop couldn't let the viewer take all the dumb. In spite of having a job that allows all this, he's found room for plenty of stupid. Listen to the anguished cries of his prisoner. Now think about this. The guy was naked and had clearly been stabbed before he was shot twice at close range. So the next question might seem a little daft.
Are you okay?
Do you know what, officer? I think he's probably not. I think he's anything but okay. So you have to be dumb to not want to be a cop, but far dumber to actually be one. For many years now, groups have been campaigning for the rights of disabled people. There are ramps in most public buildings and a toilet that spans 2 acres with handrails and a panic alarm. In Broward County, Florida, they've taken things a step further. When the disabled community complained that robbing petrol stations was proving harder for them than for able-bodied people, action was taken. This paraplegic decided to empty a gas station storeroom of its stash of cigarettes and found that not only was there a convenient ramp allowing him to enter through the back door, but the staff also considerately gave him extra time to get in before raising the alarm. In fact, this burglary took place in daylight during working hours under the watchful eye of the CCTV cameras. But all the staff was so busy taking the odd $20 bill out the front that they failed to notice over $3,000 worth of fags leaving very slowly through the back door. When you were little, you were told that you shouldn't stare at the man in the wheelchair. One can only presume that the staff at this gas stop took one look at the CCTV and politely turned away. Political correctness is taking over. So it's time to decide who heads this vast herd of half-wits. We saw a brain-dead burglar making a bit of a fool of himself. There were those 2 ladies whose fashion faux pas were far too frightful to face. And there was a guy who decided to drive into a river instead of across it. But the moron of morons has to be the burglar whose brilliant idea of a see-through bag disguise gets him banged up straight away. Well done, mate, you are America's dumbest.